As far as the general public, are you going to market this to the App Store, Apple, Google Play?
Yes. Yes.
And what's your price point for that app?
It's going to be probably, you can't make money selling a gaming app. Nobody's going to pay up front. What I mean by selling is by, most people won't pay up front for a gaming app. So we're going to use a kind of Candy Crush model in which we give away the app for free, but we're going to be trying to sell advertisements inside the app to like Scottrade and Ameritrade and things like that. We're also thinking about doing some things like custom skins and things that can be unlocked and stuff like that. So we use that kind of freemium model, so to speak.
When do you plan on that being live?
Well, the first, like I said, right now we do have a working prototype of a tutorial level, and the servers are working, but it's probably going to be another year before, it depends on getting a professional programmer, because like I said, my twin brother is doing this. He's a software developer at IU, but that's his full-time job, right? And so we need to play test this thing. We need to do the interface design and stuff like that, so probably a year.
Yeah, and I just add this, so I want to move fast, so now, like I said, I've created all these levels, so now the key is that's why we want to raise money quickly so we can get that as fast as possible and hire professionals.
But our idea is to get the first 3 levels out there,
right,
so that this would be a demo, and then we can get more funding. And we're also looking for like grant funding and stuff like that.
Yes, yes.
How much are you trying to raise?
So initially we need about $50,000.
About $50,000.
This doesn't make any sense. You were at Goldman Sachs and you hit a home run and retired at 36 and you don't have 50,000.
I can pay for it myself if I wanted, but
Why are
want
you
to get.
here?
I want strategic partners. To be honest, I know I created the whole game. I know nothing about the software development or anything. I can't code or any of that stuff. So it's so I want strategic partners to come involved, and I want people to skin in the game. I'll put my own money into it, but I want other people. I want other people's expertise. Is the truth. I don't really. The money is not as important.
Yeah, I
It's the
got
expertise.
$50,000.
Kevin, yeah, let's. So yeah, so I can finance it. There's no issue there, but I want the expertise to come in, and have skin in the game. That's how I always do things. But, yeah. Sorry, I heard the next. Yeah.
Have you considered, as a further proof of concept, you tested it with students, but students haven't had to pay for it, so nobody's actually giving you money for the game.
Correct.
Have you considered turning your paper version into a production board game that you can put on Kickstarter? Because if it's that fun to play as a board game already, people might buy it as a board game. Then you get people actually giving you money for the game as a proof of concept, which then you can take to investors and say, not only do people like it, they're willing to pay us for it.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah, we have the card. Actually, have samples of the cards and everything in the game, and that could be a good idea.
I'm writing it down for you.
Oh, you write it down.
Yep.
Okay. I was gonna mention. I can have the card. So yeah, that's a good idea.
And we've considered Kickstarter. What we found in our play testing is that the math, that the game is fun, but the math after the game, having to write down all the numbers and the trades and everything, that takes longer to do than to actually play the game.
Right.
And that's why we're really interested in offloading this to an app, so the app handles all of it.
And I see that would make it certainly easier to play, but it takes longer to get there, right? Maybe if you already got the game designed, you could more quickly get to market with something to prove the concept. Even if it's not the final thing, as a step to getting to where you're trying to go.
True. That's a good point. Yeah.
So is the 50K, the initial 50K, is that you're seeking? Is that to pay for a coder?
We're thinking about $30,000 just to pay for a coder, about $15,000 for maybe a designer to get some initial design work, because that's the other sort of things that if you don't have a good design, interface design with games are maybe 75%. Right, exactly. Then we also do the server cost of renting the server space because this is going to be a network game, and then there's other things, sort of marketing and stuff like that.
Are you going to host it in the AWS?
Right now we're doing, and it's an Azure cloud. I'm trying to think of where my brother has put it, and so it's on the cloud now. But we're looking at other ways of optimizing it and stuff like that. So because that's if we're going to be using it worldwide, then we're going to need to be doing some basically simulating the app on the server. But if we're doing it in just if Bloomberg or Goldman Sachs is running it, then they can perhaps simulate the app. But we're trying to work out the details about like that kind of stuff now. And that's what, again, will come from play testing to see what people actually do with this.
you can get pretty far down the road server-wise on $15 a month.
Yeah,
believe it or
and
not,
that's what-
so that's insignificant.
That's where we're at now.
But app developers, software developers are on the high end dollar-wise, and 30,000, a good app, and you may need two of them, one for iOS and one for Android. There aren't that many that do both and do them both well. And you're gonna spend in the neighborhood of you know, $3,000 to $4,000 a week, maybe more, on a developer. So 30,000. If you think someone can develop the whole thing in 10 weeks, then your budget's about right. If not, you need to rethink that.
So do you have a question?
Yeah, I would follow along with that. I think you're way low on your code cost. We have developed some software. I mean, the cheapest software I got is probably 150 grand. And that's developing in-house. I know the digital ray guys told me between 150 and 250 is what they're charging. I think if you started developing it though, I think you could go towards the gaming industry. I mean, online poker is making a lot of money off of cards. You're just doing it off of numbers.
Right.
It's a similar business model. I mean, they're different from Wall Street's.
Yeah, and it's funny, you know, obviously I'm an active poker player, and this game is so much more fun than poker, because in poker, if you play Hold'em, most of the cards you get a bag, you keep folding. So in a half hour, maybe you play a couple of hands. In this game, everyone's participatory. If you get a low number, that could be very good, because you can then short and make money potentially on the downside. You get a high number, you can make money on the upside. So there's so many more choices. So like if you compare this game to poker, I think it's 100 times better.
Can you explain this better? Like so you have 5 numbers, you have 5 people playing, and you're
Right.
giving them each a number.
Sure. So let me get there's the box right here. Let me see. Where's mine? There's the box. Did I leave it? Anyway, I'll explain it real quick. So everyone gets a random number between 1 and 39. And you're trading. Level 1 is you're trading based on the sum of those numbers. So the average number is 20. So if you did this a million times, the average sum would be 100. But everyone sees one card. I call it inside information. Say you get a card of a 35. Now your initial expectation is that sum's going to be 115. If you figure out the average numbers, you don't know the other player's numbers. If the average amount to be 20 times 4 is 80. You have a 35, that's 115. So let's say someone comes out with a market 98 by 103. You're more likely to buy. Say you want to buy 5 contracts at 103. Someone else buys. Now you start seeing things and more. Now the other person, you got to put them on a high number.
Gotcha.
So now you reevaluate. Or if a lot of people are selling, you've now got to read that they have low numbers and your expectation is lower. That's level 1, where you at the end of the game, everyone flips over their numbers and you sum them up, see who made or lost. Okay. By level 3, we start introducing information. It could be a hurricane hitting Florida, and you're trading orange juice futures. And you've got to determine, you know, how's that going to affect it? Well, if a hurricane's going to hit Florida, it's going to decimate the supply. Supply is low, demand stays stable, the price goes up. There'll be a card at the end of the game. You'll know the information, but the end of the game might say that the final number, you got to go up by 15. So you got to put that into your play. At higher levels, you become hedgers and speculators. We can reintroduce negotiation where you can try to buy information. There's so many levels after that, but that's the basic premise of what I did. If anyone trades, you can kind of understand it. It's, again, in the app, it's easier to, when you play it, it's easier to, it's kind of.
So why is the math so difficult on a board game? Why couldn't you do +5, -5?
Well, what
based on
happens at the end of the game is that it's very fast paced, right? Because you're going to trade as much as you can within these 2 minutes. And so in a paper game, and this is what we saw over and over in play testing, is when somebody makes a trade, 2 players have to sit aside and write down what they're making on
Well,
a sheet of paper.
I made it better
And so,
with an Excel, yeah, I was just going to help them.
So, and so what happens is that it takes, those 2 players are outside of the game while the trading's going on, so they're missing tradings. And if they write something down wrong, then all of the scores are messed up at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I did make it better in a sense. I had this smart Excel spreadsheet where I had the market maker. Every time someone did a trade, I had the market maker inputting it. So it made it a lot better. But it's so, when I've played it both, and when I do the app, it's so much more fun. It's so fast. And then you can think about your trading decisions rather than doing the math. So just the feedback loop is faster and it's more exciting. I mean, it was fun. The students loved
So
it. It was
you're
a party game.
constantly trading the whole circle.
Yeah.
So if you have 5
Yeah.
people, you're gotcha.
And you're rotating. Someone, like initially someone's a market maker, the next round someone else is a market maker, and then the higher levels, every time someone does a trade, they then have to make a new market. So you're getting both sides of the equation on there.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. Yes?
Why don't you have a chip in the board game to make all these these calculations. So you would have a combination of a
Right.
board game and an internal chip for the calculations, and then that would open it up to consumers as your primary customer instead of advertisers. I think, trying to sell this concept to advertisers is a pain in the neck, and an endless, a boring activity. But if the calculations could be built into the game.
Wouldn't you have to chip every card?
Well, yeah, I think that's a good suggestion, but I would worry about having to chip every card, and then if players lose the cards. And so what we're thinking about, this becomes the card. People's smartphones
Yeah.
become the card, and so even if you're in a
Yeah,
group
sure,
of,
slide.
even if you're in a group of people,
That'll
and
work.
there's a lot of kind of cool smartphone games out there where, one person will have something, somebody else's smartphone will, so even when you're a group, I'm trying to remember the one, it's like you're playing like you're on the bridge of a starship, and somebody's like, charge the photons, and somebody else has to do that on their smartphone standing next to them. So we're trying to do that kind of dynamic. So basically, we are doing what you're suggesting, but we're just using the technology. Because there's also things like RFID chip development and stuff like that.
Could you simplify it and do sort of a hybrid? Again, it's all about speed to market, right?
Mhm.
It's gonna take you longer to go pure app and cost more money.
Right.
Than it would be to just take what you have, commercialize it, and, so could you do hey, here's the board game, and oh, by the way, here's the companion app that does all the calculations for you, and the app that can be very simple and just do the market making calculations.
Definitely.
Instead of, so now you don't have to pay for a chip to, the electronics, the game can still be cheaper. The app is the companion to the board game, you can get that to market cheaper and quicker because it's not so complicated. As a proof of concept, minimum viable product, get it out there.
Yeah, we do have the first few levels again, when we get
Yeah,
the
obviously,
advanced
the more
levels,
complicated it gets, the
yeah.
more complicated it gets. But you gotta start somewhere and grow into it.
So is this a game that you're playing virtually with people across the country, or is this something where everybody in the room has the app and you're playing together as friends?
Both.
Or both?
Both,
yeah.
right, so there's, again, one of our models is online poker, and so there will be a lobby where you can start a personal lobby with friends, or a teacher can start a personal lobby for the classroom, or you can play against other people across the country, or bots for tutorial levels, or we're thinking even, my brother started programming some AI bots to sort of add in if like there's only 3 people, and so again, we want people to be able to do it as fast as possible, to play as many as possible, because that's where the learning
Build your
sort of
confidence
comes in.
start playing against
Exactly.
You could really paint the tape though, if you did it on online poker. Wouldn't that be a worry? I mean, you could paint the tape. If I had 2 people of the 5 telling me their numbers, statistically I could rig the game.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's
Yeah, I
something we
mean,
need to protect against.
It's called painting the tape.
Right.
That's what's wrong with Bitcoin.
Well, there would be a way, just like what online poker does now, is that they don't let you pick, if you do a private game with your own friends, that's between you guys. If you
Yeah.
do a public exchange, they won't let you pick the table. You'd have to
Gotcha.
go on and be randomized. If you get enough people, you can't, if you get, thousands of people on here, you can't paint the tape doing that.
Yes.
And you could do IP, sort of like if the IP number is 2 people are coming from the same IP, you could say,
Right.
oh wait, this might be, 2
Yeah,
persons.
same
Because
as
you could run
Pokemon.
5 versions of the client on your one computer, in theory,
IP is not going to block you though. If they're not
Yeah.
on the Wi-Fi, if they're on their own cellular network, IP will be different,
Or
right?
if they use an anonymizer.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this board game, and that's just like a different angle. Is there a different customer? Maybe that's not your Wall Street customer, maybe you're back to the education model. I mean.
Yeah, I mean,
One of the good feedback we got last night was the homeschool model, right? And that's something we hadn't even considered. A woman came up to us last night and said, I would love to have this game to teach my students, and so that's definitely.
I mean, because I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm imagining a game I'd like to, I'm gonna jump in on it one of these
Sure,
days.
yeah.
and see how you play.
I'm gonna be playing, my class will be playing it, not either the next week or the week after. I'm gonna introduce it to my class.
Yeah, I'd love to
So-
see that, but if the physical game is tons of fun.
Yeah.
You've had all this feedback on it, there's a way to do it, I like what James is suggesting, you could get that going. You
Okay.
could get it out there, And again, you got your spinning circle of who is my market and who we're
Right.
gonna sell it to, who would be the person, I mean, the homeschoolers or schools or, you know, other professors. And I'd want to have a game like that if I was teaching a class. It just would be so much better than that same old thing.
That's right, yeah, no,
So
it's
much
great,
better.
yeah.
The problem with a physical game is physically manufacturing it and distributing it, whereas an app, there's a ready mechanism for just getting a million of them out there.
That's a big
But
thing,
then
yeah,
you put,
scale.
then you put $150,000, $200,000 into the app, and
It'll
no
cost
one's gonna give you money for
it'll
it.
cost you a fortune to cut dies for the cards and print the whole thing. You're not gonna save money, you're just gonna increase your obstacles to getting to market.
Yeah, because then you're talking production, distribution, logistics.
Yeah.
Right.
So why don't you reach out, if you're looking for strategic
Yes.
partners, reach out to the Rich Dad, Poor Dad group, because they have their own board games.
Okay.
And why don't you see if you can't tag to them and give them a piece of the action? They already have the distribution model, the branding, and everything else, and you're just an add-on to them.
Yeah, these are all, like I said, there's so many potential markets to go into. Like in the 5-minute pitch, we couldn't, you know, we went to the Wall Street, but we've thought about things, about game distributors and other, you know, to hit them up too.
Well, they're really in the same sector you are,
Yeah.
and then they don't have, I mean, I was over at the Pembroke Mall during the high school, they have a Shark Tank thing, and they have all the board games from Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yes?
When you have the app, like, I guess this is happening in stock market already, right? Why don't you connect it to the live network so people get more excitement, like they play against the market? Can you do that?
We can do that, but what Andrew was sort of saying in his is that the stock market takes a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks to actually see an actual shift of doing that. And
Depending
so
what you're trading,
What
yeah.
we want to simulate in this is the individual trades, the fast-paced individual trades and negotiations in a way that's transferable.
Yeah,
So
but
the- so
basically in 10 minutes, each student could be doing 25, 30 trades and seeing the results of it, and then seeing where they made or lost money. And so this is actually more exciting than say in the stock market. Okay,
Okay.
maybe Bitcoin moves a lot, so that would be something different. But the point is, this is controllable, and we can put current events and everything else so they can react. It's like you can do so much more with this game in a short period of time than you could with the other. And there's already market simulation games out there. We don't want to redo what they're doing. We want to be different and better.
So I was thinking coming into this session about TD's Think or Swim and how it has its own free, you know, personalized
Right.
capability to let you trade on free money to test out new trading strategies. And I think you clearly articulated the difference between you and them. So,
Right.
do you plan on in parallel developing an app and keeping the board game alive, or
Yes.
are you doing both, or are you trying to move from the board game world to the app world?
Yeah, well, my initial thought was that the board game was more like use it OD was board game. Look, I did this initially to help my students. Like, I didn't do this to make money, my initial thought. And then when I realized how popular it was, I figured, well, might as well try and monetize it. So I looked at the board game, and it's good ideas. You know, again, the board game isn't really scalable. You talk about the production costs. I mean,
Yeah.
so the board game is more for the helping out, make it fun. It would be great. The app is like the big, giant, you know, multi-million, you know, $100 million potential.
Well, I would
It's
use
different,
the
but
app
yeah.
to sell the board game.
Yeah,
you know.
true, I guess.
You know, like in the same way World of Warcraft sells Collector. I would use the app to sell the board game in the same way a lot of digital games sell collector's editions and the paper sort of products around, or physical products around the digital games. And that's down the road to say, yeah, well, if you want to play this with your family, if you like it, why don't you try it?
So somebody like me who's not familiar with World of Warcraft and gaming in particular, I mean, maybe I'm just having a hard time disconnecting the two, but is your app going to be necessary? Are you going to have both the app and the board game, or are they completely separate entities?
Completely separate.
Okay.
Yeah, the two, yeah, yes.
All right, last night, I was there last night, you mentioned something about, you know, Goldman Sachs using it to vet traders.
Correct.
You know, have you seen the movie The Last Starfighter? So they have a video game
Yes.
that this alien world is
Matthew
using to
Broderick,
select
yes.
who their best pilots are.
Okay.
Yeah.
And take them to fly their alien
Greatest
spaceships.
movie.
So could you get, yeah, it's really awful. Could you get Goldman Sachs, you know, or something like that to actually fund it as a, you know, hey, you fund the development of it, we put it out there, and we give you access to the contact info for the top 100 on the list or whatever, that you can contact and say, hey, would you be interested in an interview, you know, or you know, as a recruiting tool for them, they might be interested in, you know, the pittance that it's costing them
Right.
to fund something like this, that they could then use as a recruitment tool or as a vetting tool for
Right.
possible good traders that may not even be in a business school anywhere.
You know, absolutely. I mean, if we, like I said, I mean, that's one of the ways to go. I mean, they have the money, and for them, you know, developing it is nothing. So absolutely, yeah.
I mean, I guess just to add to that, I mean, it's a very great point. Just tooling around, I applied for a job at Home Depot the other day. I was curious how their ATS system worked, and in doing so, I was applying for a job. I think they had some department manager position available, and before I was able to physically apply for the job, they made me take a test in my knowledge of how tools operate
Right.
and how things work.
Right.
And I mean, he makes a great point about how playing your game and being able to articulate that you're a knowledgeable trader in the application process and built into their ATS. I mean, that would work. Do you still have the industry contacts that you could reach out to and make
Yeah,
those connections?
I have some. I'm planning on it, and I have a lot of contacts at Bloomberg too, because Bloomberg did it. Obviously, if I could follow Bloomberg's model, what they did is amazing, and so. And I have a lot of Bloomberg contacts, and matter of fact, I speak at they asked me to speak at some of the Bloomberg education symposiums. I'm actually a Bloomberg expert. So my other thought was to kind of talk with Bloomberg, maybe get some ideas either with them to help me get into the inroads of the Goldman Sachses and so forth. But yeah, I mean, that would be the best scenario of all, if we can get in that, I'm hoping,
People don't even need to know that they're being recruited necessarily.
That's right.
They don't have to be part of the process. They could just be playing the game and, here's a guy who's consistently good at it across multiple, and if it accurately represents the skills required,
Yes.
then it might be something that they would be interested in contacting that person.
That's right. Then educational institutions are going to want to have a game so they can have their students practice, because they'll want jobs at Goldman Sachs and everywhere. And then it can even trickle down. MBA students are doing it, then universities might as well start younger than high school students. I mean,
Or we could make
Well,
it
sure. I mean,
explicit.
That's the idea.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a great idea. I mean, all of the NSA's best hackers came from being sued originally. They
Right.
got caught doing something.
And we could even make it explicit and have Goldman Sachs have a competition or sponsor a competition to do this. And that would even bring more people into the app. Do you think you've got what it takes to be on Wall Street? I could see the advertising out.
yeah.
The only thing that comes to mind, and these ideas are all great, but is, as you know from the news this morning about Facebook and the privacy
Right.
things, so you'd have to address all that, and,
We need to ethically
That's you need
make
good
it
lawyers,
clear.
I guess.
Yeah.
Or just make it clear up front, like how this data is being used, how it's
Right.
being
Right.
collected, and that kind of stuff.
Are there any trading schools? Like, I know you give a trading class, but are there any trading schools?
Not that I know of. I mean, there's, like, a lot of times you get hired, like Goldman Sachs has,
Yeah.
has programs. So companies themselves have it. Again, that's an area where if Goldman Sachs uses this game, they might be able to save a ton of money and time to get employees. I mean, I hope I got to convince them that this is a better model for them. And then just that alone could be worth millions of dollars, multi-millions of dollars.
Claytrader.com is a really big online trading education community.
What is it again?
Claytrader.com.
Right, I don't think you know, put it in
CLAYTRADER.
Claytrader.com.
Yeah. I've been fooling around with this site for a few years. It's a really good educational website on how the markets work and how to react to them.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Now, of course, with the cryptocurrency, so many young people are so excited about that. This is a great time because they're going to want to. This can improve their skills to trade Bitcoin. People talk about Bitcoin. A lot of people made money just because the darn thing's gone up and up. You can tell the good traders when it goes down or when it, then you could still make money. So, a lot of people think they're Bitcoin geniuses, but if the market goes one way, it's easy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, until once it crashes, we'll see who the smart people are.
Yeah, we're all short DIY or DIA.
Yeah.
So I don't know anything about trading. Like, do I need to know basic stock market trading to play this game, or are you gonna have like a tutorial? Okay, this is what you do.
Definitely gonna have a
Little
tutorial
video.
level, which you have characters with bots, and that will you'll play against bots, and the tutorial level will walk you through and say maybe you should have done this, or maybe you should have done that, and then again you can. This is game-based learning, so and I don't know if you how familiar you are with even games like Candy Crush, right? You're going to Candy Crush blind. by the time you've played it, and within a week, you're an expert because of this sort of scaffolded level. This is part of what this game would want to do from the educational perspective, is to take this very complex set of skills and negotiations, this almost statistical analysis that you've got to have in the back of your mind when you're looking at your card number, and teach it step by step and layer it through levels and onwards of that, and through repetition and feedback. So that's the whole game of this.
The other
You're kind of
idea-
our ideal customer.
Okay.
Think about
All right.
The other idea we had was also putting like an Investopedia type of thing for terms. Like if you don't know what, if say you get to an advanced level of puts and calls, you can click a button, put, and it give you a definition of what it is, or call, or even long or short. So it's kind of like an Investopedia, and possibly we get some advertisement for Investopedia. I've actually talked to Investopedia a little bit, and they're interested in learning more about it. So that could be another avenue on there. Yes.
Your team needs a technical founder. You're gonna
Yes.
have a, right, so. as long
I
as
agree with you 100%.
And then you don't have to worry about the 50,000, right? Because
Oh,
you
that's right, yeah. Yeah. So if any technical founders to help us come in, we would appreciate it. So first here and then there, yeah.
I wouldn't sweat doing selling advertising necessarily, because you can put Google AdWords display ads in your app, and Google deals with selecting the right ads to show, and you don't have to go out and sell specific ads to specific people, at least until you can do that. You can still put ads in your, because I had display ads that were online display ads that were showing up, and people were telling me, hey, I saw you advertising in this app I use, and like, no, that's only because you visited my website, the retargeting found you, and my ad showed up. But it was showing up in apps that I had nothing to do with. So it's possible to put advertising in without going out and selling advertising, at least in the short term. You might get better targeting, you might get more money selling it to somebody directly, but in the short term, you don't just wait on putting ads in until you have somebody bought them.
Yes.
I design and create software for a living, and I was thinking if you wanted to cut down on your cost of creating and developing the app, is contact the ODU department, the computer science
We have
department.
them doing it already.
And, yeah, you have?
Yep, Jennifer Nell's, Dr. Brunel's classes. They're one of the two trends. My brother is doing the one prototype, and they're doing the sort of the more group dynamics. He's doing the more the tutorial levels and face-to-face. And so, yeah, we're already working with
Tim Baker,
Tim Baker,
Jen
right,
Brunel's 410.
running the team, and they're doing a really good job. So, yeah, I think.
But it's, to be honest, it's slow. It's slow moving.
Well, it's going to be slow.
To speed it up though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you could find some interns that are, especially in their junior or senior years, some of the students are really talented programmers, and they're just eager, and, they're looking to find experience to program.
And I'm also the advisor to the Video Game Design Club, so I might pitch it to them too and say, are you guys interested in helping it? We won a Faculty Innovator Grant Award from ODU for $3,000, and I'm paying one of my grad students to do, she did this initial draft of the interface, and she's gonna do through Unity some front end basic.
I think the help is there. I read somewhere recently that a large amount of the homeless population in San Francisco are coders. They can't find jobs.
Man. All over 30.
Yeah.
Or they can't afford rent too. The other.
Yeah.
the other thing, yeah.
So the coder that you're looking for, they don't have to have this basic knowledge of like actual stocks and whatever.
No.
No, because I can teach
Just,
them that.
okay, so they just need to code.
Correct. Like the CS, they didn't know, they came in and watched me demonstrate the game, they kept asking me questions, I had to keep, explaining it to them, but by the end they got it. So they, by doing their coding and everything else, learned about trading and everything, and they learned it pretty fast because of the game, it helped them. Yeah.
Do you have anything online about this? Like, if I send this around to a few people?
We have a website that's a very rudimentary state.
I could show them some of my slides.
Right.
too, if you want. Share with them the
But there is a
rules.
contact form on the website, playfuturetraders.com, which you can contact us and we can share more detailed information and documentation. This is a website that I put together.
Like in the last 3 days, right? So I'll be honest here. Hey, this is honest feedback. We would know it's full transparency.
No, I was just looking at it a few minutes ago. It's a WordPress site. So yeah, is that what you plan to build off of? Is that going to be your main URL moving forward? So as we're staying tuned to your development over the months and years, is that what we're going to be looking?
The reason I chose a WordPress site was because I had to get it up in
I
3
didn't
days.
mean to,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to downplay.
No, I don't like how it looks. One thing that I'm probably gonna do is to cut costs on hiring a web designer right now is to buy, there's a theme I'm looking at, it's $69 for Chameleon, and that will help us do, it's basic content management, which is I think what we need at this point. Eventually, we'd like to make it be able to play the game through the website, and when that happens, that's all kinds of server issues and stuff like that. But right now, and it's the
For now, it's a way to keep in contact.
right. For now, it's a.
Quality.
I think he said like a week ago, let's do this. Let's apply for 1 million cups, and this is what we need.
Right.
Oh, they want a website on the application.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah.
So, yeah, so Kevin, and Kevin's got a full-time deputy, so he's, staying up late to do this, so, it's great that he, but he's did it in a few days, so it's great that he even did it, so.
You could probably find a student
Yeah.
who wants to do a website. I mean, I know a lot of ODU students
Yeah.
who did that could use this as a resume and do it on the side.
And I regularly teach digital writing classes, and I could,
Yeah.
have asked one of the students in that class if they want to use it as a project.
Yeah, if they
but-
could graduate with websites that they can
Uh-huh.
show, because that's a very competitive field right now, so.
Exactly, and I hate web design, I can do it, I can program
Yeah,
CSS
push it
and
off
all
to
that,
them.
but I really, really despise it.
Have you thought about searching for high-quality coders out in the world, the Microsofts, the Googles, the world, acquiring somebody of very high caliber and paying them in equity?
Yeah, we would love to do that.
A technical founder.
Right, yes. Yes, it's exactly both what, I agree 100% with both of what you've said, yes. That's something, yes. Again, that's not my area. Kevin's more
Right.
his area than mine. I admit, I'm very naive. I don't know how to code or any of that stuff. I just logic behind it.
And my brother could do, he's a full-time software developer, professional software developer, then again, he also has a full-time job.
But that's still your major hang-up is when you guys are looking for coders, is that what you're saying?
Coders and designers, honestly.
Okay.
I'm as worried about the design as I am with the coding,
Sure.
because it's the interface. If it doesn't look, I've moved on but from the slide, but if it doesn't look good, if it's not engaging, if it doesn't, games are, I almost have to seduce people. There's a lot of
Oh, sure.
competition on the app market and the game, so you have to, got to suck people into the game, and once they're in there, we have to keep them playing, and that's almost all interface, and code is involved in that, but, yeah.
That's probably gonna be 2 different people.
Yeah, definitely 2 different people,
Unless you find someone who's just great.
or 3, big game companies have.
So what can 1 million cups do for you?
Well, anyone, a technical founder, any technical founder wants to get involved, and that's, right, that would be a great thing.
Right, I appreciate this feedback.
Yeah.
Technical
The board game idea is great to also, so, if anyone wants to help or get involved, we'd love to, like I said, we're looking for, more expertise to help us, so.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here today. Have a cup of your.
Yeah.
More cups of coffee.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And thanks for the feedback.
Yep.
And if anyone wants to talk a little bit,
Stick around, come on down.